Oh my goodness, Eleni,
Hi, Dean. How are you?
I am so good. Did you hear that? This conference is being recorded by the organizer. That's me. So be on your toes here.
All right.
Coincidentally, and on an unrelated matter, I literally just hung up the phone with your brother with
Funny.
regards to, Taco Tuesday. He's in Florida right now, which is where I am. So there.
Apparently, you know more about my brother than I do.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm excited that we're going to get to chat here. I can't wait to hear what you're up to. I got your scorecard too, by the way. So you really
Okay.
put some thought into all of this. So I like it.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
So tell me the whole story here up to how did you get involved in this business and, what's your take so far?
Okay, so I was in the fashion business for over 20 years. Then when it came down to having a family, I was having some difficulty. Kind of stepped away from that, I had a bridal shop, closed that and focused on, fertility methods. It was a 6-year process, but we finally got our triplets, which was great. So,
well, there you go. There you go. That's a dollar cost average of one every 2 years for the whole 6 years we were doing it. It worked out in the end. Yeah.
You're a math guy. I love it. So once I had the kids, it was focusing on the kids or whatever as much as I could, but I always have a burning desire to create. So I was trying to figure out what I can do while still being a full-time mom. So I looked to fashion was out of the question because that's something you have to kind of be in the city for at the time, and it's really like 24/7, So I needed more flexible hours and stuff. So I started thinking about interior design. I wound up getting my first interview with a company. It's a kitchen and bath company, and now they do full service design. I got the job, and I worked there for 3 years. It was great, but I wanted to do more than just kitchens and baths, etc. So kind of stepped away from that, took a year to be with my kids again, and then was thinking about how I could start my own interior design business. So in 2016, I got a project. I wasn't quite ready yet to start the business, but a friend of mine really wanted me to do a bathroom and a bedroom in his home. And so I just charged him 10 grand for the project, and it was great. I enjoyed it. He loved the work. It turned out beautifully, and that got me really excited. Doing it on my own, and I made the client really happy, and it was just a really positive experience. So I decided I was going to take that money and start my own business. And the deal with myself was, if I run out of this money, then that's it. I'm not doing it. If I can do it on this money, then I'm doing it. So, because I didn't want to have to rely on, my husband's income or anything like that. So anyway, I used that money and have been doing projects ever since. I've been blessed that clients have been kind of coming my way through referrals. So that's always great because they kind of have an idea of who they're getting and what they're getting before they get to me. And they're already pretty sure that they want to do it. So that's an easy sell, right? When that happens. But what's 2020, of course, things took a dip a bit, mostly because there were 5 bodies in my house that aren't usually there.
Right. Okay.
I work from home, and whatever. So I'm back on track, but I want to increase my sales by targeting my ideal clients, because what I'm finding is some of the people that get referred to me can afford my products and so forth. And some of them really can't. They're like reaching, or they're stressed about it. So I try to do my best to accommodate them. I can still make a beautiful space, whether it's IKEA furniture or anything else.
Right.
But, and I do, and then they're happy, but I don't make as much on the job that I could be making.
Right.
Because it's not in my high-end field.
Yes. And where are you again? Are you in Connecticut?
No, I'm located in Port Washington, New York.
Port Washington. Okay, right.
Yeah. Okay. So it's the Gold Coast. I'm certainly in a good area because the surrounding areas are, high-end clients and so forth. There's a plethora of designers out here. So I want to really differentiate myself in the marketplace.
Now, is The referrals that you get right now, that's always encouraging when you're getting referrals. How do those referrals kind of happen? What's can you think of someone who was just most recently referred to you? Just to
Sure.
share how it happened. I'm interested in
So,
that.
for example, this was a really good referral because it was a new build. So I'm friends with this young woman, and her sister was building a house, and she had no idea where to begin. Her father, fortunately, was the developer, so they had an architect and the developer, but other than that, she had no idea what to pick up first, how to do it, what style she wanted, etc. I met with her, and we kind of went over everything, and I pretty much told her she didn't have to worry, because even if she doesn't think she knows what she wants, I'm going to drive it out of her by the questions that I asked her.
How did you get introduced to her, though? How did it actually happen that you found out? Did she call you and say, "Hey,
she called me.
The sister of your friend"?
Yes, she called me, and my friend also sent me a heads up in a text saying, "My sister should be calling you. She's interested in design work."
Nice, that's good.
Yeah, that's the ideal circumstance.
Yeah. And is that typical? Is that typical when you get, if we were to line up the last 10 referrals that you got, would it be typical that they call you and say, "Hey, I'm a friend of," or "I'm a sister of," that they're calling you? Or is it more that your clients call you and say, "Hey, you should call our friend. They're going to redo their house"? Are they calling you, or are you calling, you having to call them?
For the most part, it's never really my client saying, "Hey, we know this person that's doing their house, you should call them." So that would be great if I could get that to happen. It's either they're referring, giving my name, and those people are calling me, or I'm doing things like driving by the neighborhood, looking at the new builds, hopping into the framed homes and trying to figure out who owns them.
Okay. That's how you're getting. So that's how you're proactively getting the things, is going in.
Right. But what's hard about that
doing detective work. Right.
Right. The only thing that's difficult about that is normally when I go into those homes and I find out who's working on them and stuff, 9 times out of 10, it's a developer. And developers are not likely to hire interior designers unless they have an in-house interior designer, because they don't see the value in it, spending the money. They want to just put whatever they can in the house, flip it, and get the most money out, right? Return on their investment.
Right.
So I need to build relationships more with architects. So I need to figure out a way to, sell myself to the architects, because the architects, unless they have an in-house interior designer, which most of them I would say do not, they're the ones who will refer an interior designer to a new build. And that's what I'm most interested in doing. Right now I do furnishings as well, and I do renovations. So I do everything. Sometimes I'll do a consulting job for somebody who can't really afford me, but can afford the consulting work, you know what I mean? But I want to veer away from all of that and really focus on new builds, because I get to do that from beginning to end, and I love it, because it really comes out how you want it, how the client wants it.
Yes, exactly. I love that. Okay. So there's lots to jump off on here. Let's start with the thing that's working right now, the referrals, because that would be something that we could establish pretty easy here. When you look at your relationships in Port Washington, do you know a lot of people there? Would you say you're pretty connected there, or you've got a lot of relationships? Or
I do have some.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say tons. I wouldn't say that anytime there's an event in town, I'm going to it or whatever.
No, exactly. All we're looking for, the most important thing is that we identify your top 150, let's call them. The people that if you saw them at the grocery store, you'd recognize them by name, and you'd stop and you'd have a conversation with them, and you've got a relationship with them, not just people that you would recognize,
Right.
Those are the people who are the most likely to refer you. right? Because they know you, they like you, they trust you. That's the most important foundation of it all. So do you do any sort of proactive communication with those people, like to encourage referrals or to have anything to do with your business?
No, I mean, sometimes in conversation, I'll mention it, and everybody says, of course I will, and whatever, but of course I will to really, actually do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the thing, is what we're trying to do, like your business is 100% conducive to referrals. I mean, it's the kind of thing that comes up in conversation, and people they need a recommendation from people for it, right? And people love to recommend. We love to introduce people. We love to help whatever we can, right? Oh, I got a guy for that. Oh, I've got just a girl for you. You need to call Eleni. She's the one. So that happens for you already. It's just that we can't predict it right now. You can't, it's happening, but it comes out of the blue kind of thing.
Right.
And so what we want to do is look to add some structure around that so that we can orchestrate referrals rather than just have them come passively to us.
Right.
And so there's a couple of things that depends on. First of all, we have to get over the mindset that we're asking them to do us a favor, right? Like it's not about them doing anything for us. This is what kind of blocks people from what they might call asking for referrals, because we're never asking for referrals. What we want to do is understand how it actually happened and then orchestrate a situation so that when it happens, all the dots get connected. Like, so we look at it that if all referrals happen as a result of conversation, so the precursor to the referral is somebody's in a conversation and they're talking about building a new house or remodeling their existing house. That's the starter of the conversation, right? Now, in order for that to turn into a referral, your friend, the people who know you, they have to notice that the conversation is about design. They have to think about you, and then they have to introduce you not only into the conversation, but to the person that they've had this conversation with, right?
Right.
And so when it happens, every time your client's sister gave you a call because she was talking with her sister who said, oh, you need to call Eleni. And then your client called you and said, hey, my sister's going to give you a call because we were just talking about it. She's redoing her house. And then she called you. So all of those things happened. They were in a conversation. She noticed it was about design. She thought about you, and she told you that she had the conversation. So now you get connected. Now, for every time that happens, there's probably 5 times that it didn't fire all the way through.
Right.
And then you run into someone at the grocery store, and they tell you, hey, did the Ludwigs ever give you a call? They were going to remodel their whole house. And you're like, no, I never heard from them. They go, oh, that was months ago, but I guess they've done it by now. But I tell people about you all the time. You hear people say that, right? I tell people about you all the time. And then you're looking at your phone and you're looking at your client roster, and nobody's ever told you that particular person has told them about you. So there's a disconnect, right? And what we're trying to do is to orchestrate it now so that when they hear those conversations, they immediately think of you and they call you. So one of the things that we do, I do this with real estate agents and financial advice, all kinds of any business really, but we send out a postcard every month to the top 150, and we One of the ones that we use is one called the world's most interesting postcard. I've got a different idea for you. But we send the world's most interesting postcard, and that just has interesting facts and trivia and information on the front side of it. But on the back of the postcard is where it all happens. We put a Post-it note graphic with a little note that says, and it highlights a particular high probability conversation that somebody might have. So if you think about in the real estate world, we're moving into April right now, which is peak of the spring market. And what happens in the spring market? Everybody wants to put their house on the market, right? So in this month, we might send a postcard and say, just a quick note, in case you hear someone talking about selling their house this spring, or the pattern is just a quick note, in case you hear some, insert high probability conversation here, right? If you hear someone talking about selling their house, buying their first house, moving to the country, buying a vacation home, buying an investment property, we're going through this list of all of the conversations that your top 50 might be involved in, right? So if we think about that for you, if we were to start that note by saying, hey, just a quick note, in case you hear someone talking about remodeling their bathroom this spring, or remodeling their kitchen, or they're doing a whole house remodel, or building a house. You think about what would be the 10 or 12 most valuable conversations for you,
Right.
How we want to, I talk about it as programming people, when you look at it, if we could plant a chip in the ears of your top 150 and listen in on their conversations, and every time you hear certain trigger words, we get alerted that there's a referral conversation happening. That's what we want, right? So
kind of like they say Alexa, does, or, when you plug things into the internet, like keywords,
Yeah.
So
imagine if we're listening in, and then all of a sudden, when you hear these trigger words, you get alerted that this person was having this conversation, and you can listen in and then silently whisper things in their ear to turn that into a referral for you. You would get a lot more referrals, right? If that was possible. So here's how we do it. So we take that and say, just a quick note, in case you hear someone talking about, insert the high probability conversation here, selling their house this spring. If springtime, it's like the floodgates get opened and everybody wants to get their house on the market when the snow melts and everything's looking great. If you hear someone talking about selling their house, give me a call or text me, and I'll get you a copy of my How to Sell Your House for Top Dollar Fast book to give them. So the pattern is just a quick note in case you hear someone talking about this. Here's why you might hear it. If you hear that, give me a call or text me, and I'll give you this, something valuable, to give to them. Right. Now, the difference here is that the reason that we refer is not as a favor to you. The reason we refer is because we want to feel good, right? We want to be the bringer of good things.
Right.
And it goes all the way back, since as long as we've been playing this, what I call the cooperation game, since we were tribal hunter-gatherers, and we decided we'd be better off, banding together than being individuals, we're always very aware that in order for the cooperation game to work, we all have to look out for each other, right? We all have to bring value to the herd, to the collective. And so we are very aware of our position in the herd, right? And we're constantly trying to do things. So if I always say to people, listen, if if you and I were in the herd and I was out coming back to the village and I pass you on the path and I've got a big, arm full of blueberries and I say to you, hey, Eleni, there's a big patch of blueberries over that hill there. In that moment, I'm a higher status than you.
Right.
And so it's like I have cemented my position in the tribe because I've added value. And you feel this overwhelming urge to now keep the books, even. So you might say to me, well, watch out behind those rocks because I saw a lion on my way over here. And now we're even, right? I'm going to avoid the lion.
Right.
You're going to find the blueberries. But if I pass you on the path and I say, hey, there's blueberries over here. And then the next day I say, hey, there's raspberries over here. And then and you're not reciprocating with that.
Right.
You're a taker. You're a liability.
Right. It's not a mutually beneficial relationship.
Absolutely. So that's why when people refer, DNA-wise, genetically, we're wired to do this, right? So we want to get out of the way as soon as I often try and, really get people to understand that, because as soon as you start to incentivize referrals in a way of, send me a referral, I give you $50 or whatever the thing is, it taints the real reward that you get from it, right? So there's a real psychology of this. And when you understand it, you realize that it's the most natural thing that when we get these, when somebody recommends you and you go and you do what you do for them, and then they come back to the person who referred you and say, you've got to come and see what Eleni did in our living room. It's amazing. And then the friends are going to go over and they're going to be raving, thank you so much for introducing us to Eleni. This was so great. And they're going to be getting these squirts of dopamine. They're going to be so happy that they get this acknowledgement. That's the reward, right? That's what people are really looking for. But the same way, the reason people are reluctant to refer, especially if they don't know 100% that you're going to be able to do a great job, is that the last thing that they want is for them to come over or them to hear back from their friend that,
what were you thinking? Why did you
right, exactly. We had Eleni come over. She is a wackadoo. That's, those ideas, that's not for us. And now they feel bad because now they've lost face. They're embarrassed, right?
Right.
It's all this psychology going on behind the scenes of referrals, right? So when you understand it and you can really play into the logistics of it, the mechanics of how the referrals are actually going to happen, knowing that they're going to have a conversation and we want to be top of their mind when that conversation topic comes up. That's how we can do this. Now, for you have a very visual thing. And I think that there might be a really great way for you to do a postcard that could be, some design tips or design, what would you think that that you could educate people about or showcase for people, or that would be, interesting for people?
I think the design tips are always great.
Yeah.
Also, things that are trending.
There's trends, yes. That'd be a good one.
And also, just how to avoid hiring a designer who's going to just come in and put their trademark stamp on your house. And when you leave, they leave, it's beautiful, but it doesn't reflect you at all,
Right.
Because it's funny, a lot of designers say exactly what I say out there, which is what I design for the client. So it really doesn't matter what my look is. I understand, I have fine taste, and I understand all different looks. It's about
Yeah.
incorporating the things that I know into the things that you want to get the look that you want. Now, a lot of designers do that, but a lot of designers don't deliver that because I could tell this person designed this home because it's just their
because
stamp
they want
all
their
over everything.
taste. Yeah, their
Right.
design. Just trust me, it's going to be great. They want to put their look on something, right?
And I really don't do that, and that's why there's such a variation in some of the work that I've shown already, because I really do listen to what they want, because I want them to ultimately feel great when they're in their home.
Yeah, I love it. That's really good. So this is, I think that alone, if we could orchestrate something like that, like I really think design tips or trends, not so much, I've got another idea for your education things that you can do, but for this particular postcard, going to your existing clients, everybody that's in a design that you already did for them, because they're people, every time people come to their house and they go, oh, I love what you did, that's, they're maybe going to bring you up, that's really the designer we worked with, she's amazing, right? So all of that stuff, and then is there the offer that we could make? Like if you were to think, what would be 3 or 4 high probability conversations that you think might lead to somebody becoming a referral?
So between the people that I know and their friends,
if we're imagining, what do you think the conversation was with the referral that you talked about, the sister of your
I know for a fact it was, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. I have no idea what style I am or like. I have no idea where to start, and I need to start ordering things because her father was starting the bills,
Oh.
So, ordering things like lighting and whatever.
Yeah. So so imagine now if you said to someone, just a quick note, in case you hear someone feeling overwhelmed by an approaching design project. When people are building a home or doing a remodel, they often get overwhelmed because they don't know all the steps involved in the process. If you hear someone talking about that, give me a call or text me. I'll give you a copy of my book, Finding Your Style, to give to them, that walks through the thinking process of how to organize all the chaos into something we can turn into a plan.
I like that.
That might be, but it's easy. You have the knowledge, right?
I do have the knowledge. And, it's funny, pardon me for interjecting, but my brother and I have these conversations all the time. And he gets frustrated with me because I say to him, I'm busy doing with what I do and what I'm good at and what I love to do, which is designing. I listen to the marketing webinars and to all these different things, and I take my notes and whatever. I'm like, but that's just not my thing. I'm like, I just want I want to hire someone to just, get the information out of me that they need and put it into words. And he's always getting on me because he's like, how good you are at what you do is number 3 on the list. The number one thing is you have to know how to market.
Right. That's the truth. Yeah.
And I get so frustrated. I'm like, what do you mean? There must be people that I can pay.
There must be.
And he says a lot of the people that are out there, he goes, unfortunately, they're not good. He goes, and the ones that are really good, you can't afford to pay. So then it kind of leaves me in a spot when he says that,
Yeah. And he's not wrong, though. I mean, that's part of it, right? So but I get it 100%. I mean, you are, we've never met. I'm good friends with your brother. And I refer to this position, this place that you're in right now for entrepreneurs as being frustrated with being a self-milking cow. That's really what you're running into, is that you've got everything on your plate. You've got, let's not even talk about triplets and COVID and whole world changing things, but let's just talk about in your business on itself. You've got to squeeze in the design work, which is the thing that you're doing, right? And you don't have the time to do all the other stuff that goes along with it. And
Yep, you
it's
hit the nail on the
frustrating.
head.
I get it. But the good news is, there's a great book just came out last year called Who, Not How. And it's based on this idea of, what you're describing is you're saying, I don't want to know how to do marketing. I know how to do design. There must be somebody who knows marketing that would just allow me to do the design. And that's
Right.
yeah, I get it. So
I'm lazy in any way or whatever. It's just because I feel like it's important to put your work in the places that you know what you're doing, the things that you're really good at, that you could excel at, right? And the things that you're not so good at, you subcontract.
Yes, I get it. That's really good. Yeah, because you're not going to paint the homes yourself, right?
Right.
You're not banging nails in and, doing all the actual work
Correct.
to do the remodel. You're saying, do this, put that wall there, move this over here. That's really the whole thing, right? Yeah. So the idea, though, if you did have a book called Finding Your Style, one of the things, I have a company called 90-Minute Books, and we help people write books just like that, but it only takes 90 minutes of your time. It's all about, you could talk about that for 90 minutes. You could give somebody the framework for what you would say in the book. And then I've got a whole team that helps people with that. But that's neither here nor there. The thing is, you can see how that is that if we just did this with your top 150, we would raise what we call your return on relationship. If you were to say in the last 12 months, how many referrals do you think that you got from your clients?
In the last 12 months, kind of hard because of the whole COVID thing, but
let's say not
that many, Right. And I know for a fact that it's not because they weren't satisfied, because I have testimonial after testimonial as to how happy they are. They'll send me random texts like, oh, I'm in my library right now and I'm enjoying it so much. You were so right about putting the couch on this side and blah, 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 So it's just things get, and I guess people get busy too. And so sometimes they're having just a regular conversation with someone, and sometimes it may not even occur to them to say, oh, call this person. Or even if it does occur to them, well, from that point to they pass the name on to the person, does the person write the name down so that they actually contact them? Do they forget it when they get home?
Right.
All these things.
And it's more important.
I can't depend on that business.
That's right. That's right. That's why we want to make the instruction that you give them to call you to get something to give to their friend. We're going to let them be the star. We're not turning them into salespeople for you.
Right.
We're not saying, hey, don't forget to tell all your friends about me. Right? Because now maybe they do, but it's not for everyone that calls you. There's at least 5 that people have told about you that don't call you. What's more valuable is every time they have one of these conversations that they let you know that they had the conversation, that now it's easy to turn that conversation into a referral.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I like it, Dean. So how are we making my postcard?
No, see, now here we go. And there's the thing. This is why, the 2 choices that you have is, you can use something like the world's most interesting postcard, which is, a agnostic, that's why we use it. I'll tell you the deeper psychology of why I did that as a model, because we use it for all kinds of different businesses. It's not business related at all. That where are people going to use interesting pieces of information, facts, and trivia? They're going to use them in conversation, right? So we want to anchor that they're the most interesting person at a dinner party or at the, coffee group or whatever it is, that when they are in a discussion and they drop one of these nuggets that they learned on the thing, on the postcard, they get the squirts of dopamine of recognition that people are like, oh, that was great. You're very, oh, she's funny, or she's whatever it is. We get that attention, and you get that pleasure from the interactions with the other human, that you are now looking to that card as a source of dopamine for you.
Interesting.
It's really weird, right? It's really weird how it all works, but it definitely works like that. The other alternative is that you could create a postcard series of design tips, or trends, or something that, and it could be just something very, elegant, or do you ever do videos? Or
I'm trying to get myself to do them. I bought the stupid thing with the light and the microphone and whatever.
Okay.
But I'm going to get over this. I'm very subconscious about being in front of a video. Every time I see a video of myself, I'm like, oh God, I hate that one.
Right.
But I'm just getting over it, because I know that it's like the way right now.
Yeah.
It's the way to get information out there. And
Absolutely.
people love videos. And I know that Facebook and Instagram and all of that are all geared towards becoming just video companies.
Yeah.
So I know that that's what's happening, and I have to get in it. So I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's the more comfortable you can get with that, is you've got the opportunity. It's never been a better time right now than to make yourself 15-mile famous, like you could pick a little 15-mile radius of where you are. And it doesn't matter that people in, Florida know who you are. It's that you want everybody within 15 miles of where you're sitting right now to know that if they're going to remodel or do a building project, that you're the one,
Right.
And that's
true. Sorry.
That's possible right now. No, it's totally possible right now. And so to the extent that you can get good on video, there's no difference in the brain that you would be, a famous designer to them if they see you and it looks like you're an ATV correspondent,
Right.
You've got that. The cameras are there. The ability to do it is there. It's just the skill level, and it's practice. So you could start with maybe, some Instagram videos or some Facebook videos, or TikTok even is really becoming a real thing,
I just recently heard that. I thought TikTok was something, teenagers go on. And people are saying, no, they're doing business on TikTok now. I'm like, what?
No, absolutely. No, TikTok is the real deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's another thing, and you'll probably hear this often. I'm computer challenged.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like something that would take one of these kids, 8 minutes to do takes me 30 hours.
The thing. This is what Who Not How is about. Is you don't need to get paralyzed with, how do I do this? What you need to really double down on is understanding what you want to do. What I want to do is I want to create a series of design minutes with Eleni, or just short things where I'm giving design tips or trends, or talking about do this, not that, or how, to get this look for less, or to whatever you think would be the most important things. How to arrange things on a shelf. Most people don't have an eye for organizing things in trios and how to compose a shelf. And they all just try and center or align everything, right? Or put it in some kind of order. But there's an eye to how to compose a shelf, and you could teach somebody something like that. That's something that people are going to make. It's going to make their environment, whatever it is right now, better for having learned that from you. And they're going to view you as an expert. They're like, wow, that really is that does look much better.
Right. And kudos to you for knowing about arranging things in trios. That's a little out of your wheelhouse, no?
Well, I'm what you'd call a Renaissance man.
You know
I have
what?
to know
From
a lot about a lot of things, a little about a lot of things.
Watching a few of the videos that I've seen, because, you're new to me. I only know, what my brother has said about you, and he happens to be someone I trust just like unconditionally.
Yeah.
But, I was starting to watch a few of the little segments with you and Joe Polish and stuff. And just some of the things you were saying, I was laughing. I'm like, that's so funny that he knows that, whatever. And then the other stuff, obviously, the stuff that you do, I'm like, wow, really? Is that how it works?
Right. But I mean, that's great. But yeah, I get it that there's no need for you to learn how to make videos or how to do this stuff. With literally, you are surrounded by people who know how to do those things. And you need to find the who that can point the camera at you. And you just need to be concerned about how you're going to
content.
Yes.
Right?
What you're going to say and how you're going to look. You're styling yourself and your set and all the things in your wheelhouse. And then have somebody come for a morning in 3 or 4 hours once a quarter, knock out 20 design minutes,
Okay, but here's another question, right? So let's say you get the video, it's great content, it was done well, etc. And now you want to post it on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. It's like, because of the different algorithms and stuff, how do you know that anybody's really going to see it?
Well, you are not going to use that for that. You're not going to use this for that. You're going to I would use the Facebook and Instagram for paid reach, paid ads. Because until you're building up your audience, right? And even if you do have your audience, you don't get the reach that just because somebody's a follower on Instagram or because somebody likes your page on Facebook, only 5% of the people who do it will actually be shown your stuff, right? So you want to start thinking about building an email list. That's the prize jewel of this.
So you build an email list and that's where you do the videos?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yep. You want to start doing like you think about doing a design letter, a design newsletter that every Sunday or every, something you're like right there with them once a week.
Now, can I ask you something? Because I say this to my brother all the time, and he says, well, then you're the minority. Because I feel like my inboxes are inundated with stuff. And sometimes it's stuff that I really love from people that I really respect. But I get so much of it that I'll only, open 1 out of 10 things,
It's okay.
And so I feel like people really do take the time when you send them an email to watch the video you sent them. Like,
no, it doesn't. But it doesn't matter. I mean, the thing that matters is that the people who are looking at the people who are looking to do a remodel are watching. And they know that you're there. That's really the big thing.
So then my list of emails, right, would have to be of people that I know are remodeling, right?
Well, yes. So, but what you would do to do that is do you have anything right now that gets people to raise their hand? Do you have anything that would generate leads for you?
No, all I have is my website that's out there that, again, if they don't know me, how are they going to look
right.
it up?
Exactly.
I'm on Google, I have things uploaded on Google Business and stuff,
Yeah.
but again, I'm not the first person that comes up. I have no idea how search engine optimization works.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. Like, that's a complex thing. The easiest
Okay.
thing right now, the easiest thing is to show ads to people where they are, which is on Facebook and Instagram, and to show them within that 15-mile radius of you. If you could describe who's the person, if I were to say, if we could show ads, is it women or men who are your client that make the decision here, the design decision?
Mostly women, but sometimes
Okay.
men.
Yeah. So if we were to show different things, right? Because you can run different ads for men than you can for women, right? So let's just say, if I could kind of winnow around and say, if we could get the women, what would be the ideal age of your ideal client? What are they? They're not in their 20s, in their 30s,
No, 35,
35.
probably 65.
Okay. So 35 to 65-year-old women within 15 miles of where you are, who are in the top 20% of income earners in those zip codes. Would that be a good start on potential clients for you?
That would be amazing, but I don't know how to
Okay.
get that information.
And so there's the thing is, you just need to know that's possible. And I'm telling you, that's possible, right? So that is something that, now, if you had this, if you could show ads to just those people, what would be the book title or the piece of information that they would be most attracted to, that they would want to have? Somebody who's in the midst of planning a remodel in the next, 6 to 12 months.
Right. I mean, it would be like the things that we said, the design tips, trending, how to avoid, hiring a designer that's putting their stamp on it instead of your personal look, how to avoid getting ripped off by contractors.
Yeah. And then would you could you think of, and I'll give you an example, because so I work with a podiatrist who we did a book called The Plantar Fasciitis Solution. And we run that book ad in a radius around his office, only a 5-mile radius around his office. And who do you think is going to ask for a book called The Plantar Fasciitis Solution?
The people who have it.
Exactly. So we run that ad, and for under $5 per lead, we get a list of people who have or know someone who has plantar fasciitis. And now that list now you're growing this list of people who have plantar fasciitis. Now we engage with those people by email as soon as they come in. As soon as they come in, we give them the book, and then the next morning we send an email and ask them, "Hey, Eleni, welcome aboard. Does your foot hurt more in the morning when you get out of bed, or does it get worse during the day?" Or we've done a book called The Adult Acne Solution, and we'll ask people, "Hey, Eleni, welcome aboard. How often do you get breakouts?" So you imagine that this book offer is a magic portal that delivers people right to your office. They poke their head in the door and they say, "Hey, I'm here about the plantar fasciitis book," or "I'm here about the Finding Your Style book," or the design planner, or whatever you decide would be the best title of it. Now you're in a conversation with a visible prospect.
Right.
Now you know their name and their email, that they live in Port Washington or within 15 miles, they're in the top 20% of income earners, and they asked for your book with your to be determined title. But it's like you're gathering the right people.
Right. That sounds glorious, Dean.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the model. I mean, but part of it is that it's starts with your top 150, to get that short in, because that's where the majority of your business is coming from right now, and where it'll continue. But I think you're under optimized on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have enough of a mailing list, so I never
Right.
thought to just reach out to people that I just know.
Right.
I always knew to reach out to prospects or past clients and stuff like that.
Yes. No, everybody. Anybody that you would hope would refer you. If somebody said, hey, do you know a designer?
Right.
Anybody that you would hope that would be their answer.
And so the one example that you gave of the world's most interesting facts and trivia, the world's most interesting postcard, right? And that's the one that gives facts and trivia. Would the facts and trivia have to pertain to design, or could it pertain to anything?
No, these are anything. Yeah.
Right. Okay, good, like conversation pieces.
Which, listen, I've been publishing that for 10 years. I've got 10 years worth of those that I can give you a subscription to that. And it's good to start. A lot of people, they want to, make something specific for their industry. Like some people want to do health ones, or some people want to do financial advice ones, or Dan Sullivan's did quotes, so, and some others do cartoons. Whatever it is, it doesn't really, the important thing is it's a delivery device for the note on the back.
Right.
Where we're programming for referrals.
Right.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
It's very interesting. I mean, and we've just kind of scratched the surface for you, but there's lots of potential. What's your goal in terms of your vision for the business?
Okay, so ultimately, right now it's just to increase my sales, but targeting ideal clients, right?
Yes.
So, like you said, the top 20% income earners or whatever. And then also another piece of that is target the architect, so that I could ultimately be the person that they refer and like to work with when they're doing design builds. My ultimate goal, that's kind of leading up to my ultimate goal, is to really do like 3 projects a year, doing new builds and, having annual sales from, $500,000 to $1 million. That would make me very happy, because I would still be able to be a mom, and I'd be able to produce beautiful homes that are sustainable and functional for clients and make their lifestyle easier and better. And I'd be able to be economically, safe, I guess to say.
Yeah. Well, the reality is it's truly about the relationship thing, because then you don't need a big volume of leads. If you can do it on 2 to 3 projects, this is going to be completely about relationships. That's going to be very easy to accomplish then. And for people doing it, it's really, do you work as a percentage of the budget, or and you get some markup on the things that people buy while you're doing it?
The way that
are your fees invisible basically in the process, or is there a line item for your fees? Right.
But I try to be as transparent as possible, because I don't want I want people to know what I'm going to be making money on and what I'm not.
Right.
But it's not like I can usually give them a bottom line figure. Maybe with something and even still with the new builds, because here's the thing, I get an hourly rate. I get an hourly rate of $150 an hour, which is very fair in my industry. And then when I sell them products, if they're buying from my trade resources, so people that only sell through the trade, I get big discounts with those trade companies. So I share my discounts with them. So if I get 50% off from this particular company, I'll give them 25% and I'll make 25%.
Right.
Up front. The thing is that there's not a standard between each manufacturer as to how much of a discount they're going to give you. So it's all dependent on that particular manufacturer that they select, how big of a discount I can give them. So they know, I tell them up front that that's really the only way that designers make their money, because the hourly rates, you couldn't possibly bill for the amount of hours you really put into it, because they would look at you like you had two heads. Because they don't understand when they asked me, to show them some light fixtures, and I showed them the first 100, and they were like, oh, these are really nice, but can we see some more? And now I'm showing them 1,000 light fixtures. That takes a lot of time, right? So it's hard for designers to really make their money through the hourly thing. That just kind of gets us by. We make our money on product.
You want to know? I'll share a little thing with you that was kind of related. I do a lot of work with real estate teams, and one of them, they were having a problem where people were wanting to look at 20 and 30 homes at a time, before they found the one, and I had them say to people, we're going to sit down, I'm going to find out everything that you're looking for in a home. We're going to pre-select homes that match. We can do a lot of the selecting on the computer here with us and on the internet, but we're not always going to get it completely right. We may have to look at 5 or 6 homes before we find the right one, and just get that expectation that 5 or 6 is a lot for us to actually go and look at. Like you're saying, say to somebody, there's so many light fixtures out there, and I'm really going to get a sense of what we're trying to accomplish in here, and I'm going to curate and show you the light fixtures that I think are the best ones. But we may have to look at as many as 20 or 30 to find the right one.
Right. That's smart.
Yeah. I love it if you'd experiment with that and see, because it's just like magic when you set an expectation.
You know what? That's a really good point. And that would be brilliant, because I do, I ask them really in-depth questions, in terms of style and what they're looking for and blah, blah, blah. And so I pretty much know what type of, if in this case, light fixtures are going to fit.
This totally reframes it too. It's like you're the eHarmony of things, where you're not going to, that's why you work with designers, to help you lessen the overwhelm of it. If you're not working with a designer, people who aren't working with a designer have to weed through hundreds of light fixtures just to see it, and then they don't even know what they like anymore when they've seen that many. So my job is to curate them and get it down for you, but we still may have to look at as many as 20 or so.
I like that.
So funny. You can create any reality you want, Eleni. That's the great thing.
You know what? I think. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I've had so much fun. It's been great to
had so much fun.
Talk. I can't believe how fast the hour went.
It really did. And I thank you so much for your time and your knowledge and your kindness.
What's your takeaway? I'm going to hear how this landed. What kind of, what's your takeaway?
So my takeaway is, number one, I got to get a list going of at least 150 people that I know, at whether they were clients or prospects or just friends. And then I'm going to develop a postcard that's going to, captivate them or compel them in some way. And then in the back, it's going to have kind of more of a call to action. And that's the first thing. And then the next thing is going to be, I'm going to start creating videos and just practicing doing videos until I get it right and feel comfortable in front of the camera, and then get people who know how to actually video and know where I should be putting these videos and do that. And I love the piece about how, it's so true. I hear this over and over again, and sometimes I use it and sometimes I forget about it because I'm just so eager to please the client, that you can create the narrative, and, there have been times that clients will approach me and I don't take on the job, even though they fit the criteria. They have the money, they have the style and stuff, but I realize this person's going to be way too much aggravation. You know?
Right. Yeah.
And so I pull away from the job and I'll refer them to somebody else that I think could, would suit them more.
Yes.
But then sometimes you fall back into, well, you need the income coming in, so you take on some things that you probably shouldn't have.
I get it. Yep. Well,
so I think I got some
so
good
great.
takeaways.
You got a lot. Yeah, we got a lot done.
We sure did. Again, I'm so grateful for your time, and I'll be logging on now that I know who you are and listening to your podcast and so forth.
Awesome.
So I really appreciate it.
You're in my world. You're going to get my emails that you'll never read. That's great. No,
I may not read all of them, but I'll read some of them.
That's right. That's awesome. Thanks, lady.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
I'll talk to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.